Hey everybody, welcome back, and time for another top 10 favorite films from each letter. Today, the letter P. This one should have a couple interesting titles on it, but again, I did go with personal choices to finalize the 10. So first up is The Perfect Weapon. It might seem like kind of an odd choice, but there is a reason behind it. I saw this film when I was a kid and became so fascinated by it because I loved like martial arts films. I mean, I still do to this day, but especially when I was a kid. And that's when I discovered Kenpo martial arts, or what it was and everything. And the more I looked into it, especially as I got older, I sort of realized that that was something I gravitated towards to it. I was like, you know what? I was always fascinated by Kenpo, especially because of Perfect Weapon, that I decided to look into it and studied it for many years. In fact, I was working towards my brown belt when I lived in Chicago before I moved. But anyway, as far as the film goes, I still love the film. In fact, I actually got this tradition where each time I was getting ready to take a belt test, I would watch the film like right beforehand, just sort of amp myself up, kind of remind me why I fell in love with it in the first place. So yeah, so for personal choices, I had to go with The Perfect Weapon. Next one is a no-brainer, and that is Don Coscarelli's Phantasm. I mean, what else can I say about Phantasm that I probably didn't already say in my box set review from a little bit ago? I will say one thing. One of the great things about Phantasm, I mean, I love all the Phantasm movies, but what's specifically great about the first film, especially from a filmmaking standpoint, Don Coscarelli did write it, direct it. I think he produced it or co-produced it. He was a cinematographer and he edited the film. I mean, you know, he sort of wore all these hats, and again, you know, it was made independently and everything. So it's very inspiring to, you know, young filmmakers to see what he accomplished. Plus, Phantasm is just so awesome. Next up is Dario Argento's Phenomena, and I think like several people, I first saw it under the much edited version of Creepers, and I've always liked it, but it wasn't until I actually saw the full original version that the film went from one I really liked to one that I really loved. And indeed, even today, I mean, I would honestly probably say it's my second favorite Dario Argento film. Next up is an interesting one, and that is the movie The Pit. Now, this may seem like an odd choice, but this was also one I discovered when I was a kid. For some reason, there was something about it. I think because I was almost the same age as the kid is in the film when I first saw it. If you've never seen it or even heard of it, it's just about a kid who finds this pit out in the forest, and there are these little creatures that live in it, and so there are people that he doesn't like because he's constantly picked on and made fun of and everything, that he sends them into the pit to get eaten by the creatures. So I'm not saying I could relate or anything, but, you know. But what was cool about The Pit was that I've actually introduced it to a couple different people, one of which was a cousin that he wasn't really allowed to watch horror films at the time. But I was able to convince his parents, my aunt and uncle, that it was okay to let us watch it because it really wasn't that bad. It's not. I mean, it's got a couple things in it, but it's not like it's a super gory film or anything. And even not too long ago, a couple years ago, I introduced some friends of mine. We had one of our group things where we all meet up and watch movies together. The movie I brought was The Pit, and if I remember correctly, none of them had seen it before, so that was a lot of fun. Next up is Police Academy. Now, I'm a big fan of the series, but that first film specifically, I just think is so hilarious. It's a film that never gets old for me. I mean, even some of the lesser jokes I still think are hilarious. It's just one that kind of cheers me up when I watch it. I mean, even the music. I love the theme, like the main theme, that sometimes, because I do have the soundtrack for it, so sometimes if I have it on shuffle or something, and that will just randomly pop up. As soon as I hear like those first couple whistling notes, like I just start smiling. Like it just makes me so happy. Next up is Poltergeist, arguably probably one of the best ghost haunting movies. And the thing is, like, I don't care who made what. I mean whether or not it was Spielberg or Tobe Hooper or whomever, doesn't matter. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, on some level, everyone brought something to the table. As far as I'm concerned, they're all responsible for making what I think is a fantastic movie, and one that I've watched so many times, and the music score by Jerry Goldsmith is so incredible. Next up is John McTiernan's Predator, and what can I add to Predator that I'm sure all of you don't already know? I mean, let's face it, Predator is just an awesome movie. I always get the feeling that like that's kind of one of those just guy movies. Like I swear every guy I know, including myself obviously, loves the movie. And usually when you meet somebody who doesn't like him, it's like, he doesn't belong in our group. Next up is John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, and I love Prince of Darkness so much, but the interesting thing was, first time I watched it, I liked it. I always felt that it was a bit anticlimactic. But the thing is, I always wanted to keep watching it. And I think as, once you actually know what happens, then the whole feeling of, being anticlimactic kind of goes away. And then you just appreciate the film for what it is. And now I absolutely love it. I mean, it's basically one of my favorite John Carpenter films. Next one will be obvious because I am wearing the shirt, and that is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which is probably my second favorite Hitchcock. No, it is my second favorite Hitchcock film. Very close second. First one will be in an upcoming letter. And what can I say about Psycho that I'm sure all of you already know? It's just an amazing film. In fact, I watched it for, the millionth time not too long ago because it was like on sale on like iTunes and stuff, even though I think I owe like 5 copies of Psycho or something. I got the iTunes one because it was on sale for like $5 and even just watched it in my bedroom again. It is such an amazing film. What he was able to do, and what I love about it too is the limitations he put on himself. He wanted to make a low budget film under those restrictions to see if he could still make an effective film. And of course he did. I mean, and that again proves that no matter what tools or limitations you're given, someone with the right talent will still be able to create something amazing. And then finally, Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. As I've mentioned numerous times on other letters, I definitely am a huge Tarantino fan. So, and this one probably goes without saying that it obviously had to be on this list. The cool thing about Pulp Fiction was that sometimes it's easy to forget what a true phenomenon Pulp Fiction was when it came out and how much it really changed things and inspired things. And I think because there were so many Tarantino knockoff films to come many years after that sometimes people forget really how good Pulp Fiction is. And sometimes even I forget, and then I'll go back and, I'll like, well, let me just watch that opening scene. And then, 2.5 hours later, like, I've watched like the whole movie because it is that good. So that's it for the letter P. Keep an eye out for the letter Q, which is going to be interesting because I don't have 10 yet even listed for that one. Definitely let me know your picks for the letter P. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.